English, but if some of you don't understand any particular topic, any particular thing, the concept that I'm saying, please ask, okay? Because I know maybe some of you are very good in English, some of you are not so good, so I will try to speak very slowly so you can all understand, yeah? Are you good with me till now? Can you understand me, everybody? Okay, that's perfect. So let's move on. So I made this like a video because my computer doesn't have PowerPoint. So this is a story of which dreams are made of. So I'm really going to talk about dreams because everything that we do in life starts with a desire, a dream to be better, a dream to do something different, a desire to have a new experience. So that is the same dream which brought me here on the other side of the world. As you can see, I am from India. I was born and brought up in India, and this dress that I'm wearing, it's called a sari, and the actual length of this dress, it's 6 meters long, and it's just one piece of cloth which is tied around me. So this is the typical national dress of India, and if you go to India, you will see people on the road, people in the bus, in clothes like this, because over there, you know, we are not yet so westernized, and people, generally Indian women are very traditional, so they always try to wear their native clothes. Of course, sometimes they are not so beautiful as this one, but there are all types. So I'm from India, and I have a really long history, and I'm going to tell my history of how I came to Costa Rica and how today I'm in front of you giving this lecture during my presentation. So you will get the story in bits and pieces, not everything at one go, okay? So far, any questions? No? Okay, so let's move on. So what are the topics that I'm going to cover today? Can you see? Is it? Okay, so I don't know if this light, oh, okay, fine. So first I'm going to do a little introduction about myself. The second topic will be study abroad. So this is about education in another country. It can be United States, it can be United Kingdom, it can be Panama, it can be India or Japan or Singapore. So I will give you an overview of what it takes and how it is to study in another country. The next topic is international travel. So I know that this is a big area for most of you. I know that everybody here someday or the other wants to travel. Am I right? Is there anybody who doesn't even like the idea of traveling? Anybody here? No. So this is a common dream that we all have. We want to travel, but there are lots of factors that stop us. We think, oh, I don't have enough money, or when I retire, I'm going to save a lot of money, and then I will travel the world. Or we think, I don't know, traveling, I'm really scared. I have never been on a plane. How will I go and see another country? You know, I'm afraid of heights. So there are lots of fears for people to travel, and yet it is a dream. But for a lot of people, it remains unmanifested because we are just too afraid, or we don't even know how to start our dreams, or how to get it rolling, that maybe someday we can travel. Okay, so my next topic I don't know if you know, I recently published my first book. I finished writing this book here. So the next topic is how I became a writer. This book was published last year in September, just after I finished working here at Centro Cultural. I will tell you more about the book in some time. The next topic is how I became a dancer. I'm also a dancer, choreographer, and performer. I perform at different places here in Costa Rica, and I started dancing here. So it started out as a passion, as a hobby, and then it turned into a passion. So I will also tell you about that. And the next topic is the path of passion and purpose. So, you know, it is passion that is inside our hearts, the dreams, the passion that makes us going, right? So, I will tell you my path, how I followed this path and came here where I am, and maybe you will be inspired by my story. And lastly, dream, desire, and destiny. So these are very interesting topics. I know that most of you will be interested in knowing more about it. So let's flow. So, introduction, first topic. So, who am I and why should you listen to me? Let's go to the next slide. So, as I already told you, this picture was taken in Venezuela. I was doing a student exchange program there, as I did a student exchange program here, and I was on the rooftop of the house where I was living, and my friend took this picture. So I'm Baisakhi, I'm a world traveler. So I have traveled to nearly 30 countries across 5 continents. I have not just traveled, but I have lived in these countries, in Asia, Europe, Africa, South America, and Central America. North America, I have traveled, but I haven't lived there. But in the other continents, I have lived like 2 years in every continent. So, and I did that while I was a student and I had no money. Let me stress that again. I had no money, just a dream. The dream was to see the world. And that's how today I'm here, a world traveler, and that's, okay, so how I did that, okay, I did a lot of student exchange programs, study abroad programs, which took me from one country to another country, and while I lived in those countries, I traveled to nearby countries, so this is how I've been to so many countries. And I already told you, I just published my first book. I wrote this book during my travels across the world. It's an inner journey. I was looking for answers. I had a lot of questions when I was a little girl, and I didn't understand life. I didn't understand why life had to be so hard, why life was full of struggles and suffering. And this whole travel was like a pilgrimage for me because I was looking for answers. I was looking for magic. I was looking for meaning in life, and I was looking for love. So it was really a very intense period of time in my life, and that's how the story goes. So let's move on. So today I'm mainly going to focus on this topic, study abroad, and first of all, if you want to do anything different in your life, you have to be open to change. Now, we as humans, we always resist change. We are very comfortable in our comfort zones. So if you want to study in a different country, it's time for a change. I'm not going to focus too much on this particular topic, but I do want to say something about it, which probably will define whether you go to another country or not. Now, I know that some people here are interested in studying in another country. It is very important. Now, today in our world, we have like infinite choices. You know, there are so many careers, so many subjects, so many topics, and sometimes we are really lost. We don't know what we want to do, what will make us happy. And sometimes we pick a career because everybody says we have to do it. Because our parents say, oh, you have to study engineering, or you have to study psychology, or you have to be a doctor. And we don't really take the time to go inside our hearts to find out what is it that we really want. And I will tell you what happened to me so you can understand why choosing the right career is so important. So, I was a young student in India. I just finished my high school, which is like 10th grade or 11th grade over here. And then I applied for these scholarships to study in another country. And I got selected for an all-expense-paid trip study program in Singapore. Now, I don't know if you know about Singapore, but it's a really well-developed country like Japan. And the scholarship package was very good because it was 100%. My flights were paid, my education was paid, my accommodation, food, transport, everything was paid. Plus, every month I had $500 Singapore dollars as a bonus, you know, like for my own pleasure. So you can imagine at the age of 17, I was only 17 when I won this scholarship, and I was a kid, and I was really good in my school. I had really good grades, so I won this scholarship, and they choose like 20 to 30 people from India out of millions of students. So I was really lucky, and everybody was so proud of me. I went there, it was great, like the arrangements there, like you really feel privileged to be in another country and to have won a scholarship of such magnitude. But I chose a career that I didn't really like. I studied computer science, informatica. And this is because I was generally good with numbers and computing and stuff like that. And also, at that time, this was in 2002. At that time, computers were just coming around and everybody was doing that course, and my dad really wanted me to do it. So I took it. And then I was really, really miserable with that career because I did not enjoy it. I found it very dry. It was really not for me. Like today you see me, a dancer, a writer. Imagine me sitting in front of a computer 24/7 programming. That's not me. But my scholarship was on that subject. And after my first year, I realized I didn't like it. However, I couldn't leave it. Leaving it would mean paying back all the money that they gave me. And you know, Singapore, they pay in dollars, which is like so much more expensive than the currency in India. So it was not possible for me to leave it. And I felt stuck. Now, I'm not going to go too much into spirituality, but there was something spiritual that happened to me. I hurt my back and I became almost immobilized, in Singapore while I was studying there because I was not happy. And now I know, that time I thought it was just a back pain and it was in my spine. So I was literally, in some ways, you can say paralyzed. And I suffered for 3 years. 3 years I suffered because I was not happy in my chosen career and it impacted everything else that I did in my university. So after those 3 years of suffering, I was almost suicidal. I was really depressed. I didn't like being there in that competitive world. I didn't like programming. I didn't like coding. Until one day, I remember it was a magical healing which happened to me. I made a promise to my heart that I will never do anything in my life that I don't enjoy, no matter how difficult it gets. And within that promise, within that commitment which I made to my heart, I healed overnight. This story is in my book. It's a really magical story how one night I took all, I used to wear this belt around my back because I could not even stand straight. I could not sit in a chair for more than 5 minutes without my back hurting. And I was an athlete, I was a dancer, I was very physically active. So imagine, I was only 20, 21. So imagine someone who is so active physically, suddenly she's like bedridden, and every day I had to do physiotherapy, and each day physiotherapy cost me $50 per day. That time I was just suffering, but the day I decided that I am not going to do anything that I don't enjoy, I am going to ask my heart, what is it? What is my life purpose? What is it that I really, really, really want to do? That day I became free. So this is why it's so important to choose the right career. Don't listen to your parents, don't listen to your teachers. You ask your heart, what is it that you will enjoy the most, and do that. The universe or life has a strange way to make your dreams come true when you make a promise to yourself to follow your dreams. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about some challenges that you can face while you are in another country. It can be in the US, it can be in whatever country you are. Life is not a bed of roses. So these are some of the common challenges, but I will give you some personal experiences so you can connect with them. First, an entirely different reality. Now, you cannot imagine what it means to be in an entirely different reality until you really go and live in another reality. I cannot explain it in words. It is not possible to even start to describe the process. But it doesn't have to be extreme for everybody, but for me, it was very extreme. Imagine, I'm from a country like India. Now, India is a developing country. It's like China. Very competitive, but When I went to Singapore, it was, if India is competitive, let's say on a scale of 1 to 100, the level of competitiveness of India is 40. In Singapore, it was 99. In Costa Rica, it is 2. No, I'm not saying that in a sense to think, oh no, it's different. It's because generally I have noticed that people here are very laid back, pura vida kind of thing, you know. But if you go to the US, okay, the competitive level over there will be even more than what I experienced in Singapore. So for you, it will be a quantum leap to really, now, if you go for a 6 months program or a 2 months program, it's different. But if you go for university, like 4 years, then it will be hard. Okay, so this is just for you to know that you should expect. And you know what? Over there, you won't find anybody who will really understand you. Because there will be people from different cultures, different backgrounds, and everybody has their own challenges. So when I mean you will be put in an entirely different reality, it's like comparing an apple with an orange. You can't even compare, right? And other than the fact that both are fruits. Okay, so culture shock, I think I don't need to say a lot about it because it's a very common topic which comes up when we talk about studying abroad. And I know Costa Rica is very modernized, it's very Americanized, so maybe if you go to the US, you won't find a big culture shock. But for me, going from India to a Chinese-speaking country, totally Chinese, Malay race, it was like such a big culture shock that, well, I will get to that later. So more competition is definitely something that you will experience no matter which country you go to, because any country that offers these kind of study abroad programs are definitely more competitive than here. Now, I don't know the level of education here. I know that it's a good level, but I know that it is probably not as stressful. I know that I cannot make a judgment because definitely education here is stressful as well, but it is totally different by the level of stress that I mean. When you go to, like for me, okay, in India, I used to study a lot, like only study really, really hard, you know, and I thought I was a really good student, and I was. That's why I got selected for the scholarship. But when I went to Singapore, I could not take that competition. It was way too much for me to handle. I felt people didn't have lives. People are in the train, you know, and you see everybody is studying. Especially during the exam times, you can see all the students around the whole country. You go to Pizza Hut, you know, they used to offer this buffet pizza for $7.99, like that. So you can go there with your books, with your friends, and you can eat pizza like as much as you want for $7 or $8. And from morning till night, you are there studying. So you go, during the exam times, it's like the whole country is studying. And no matter, you go to the airport, people are studying. You go to Starbucks, coffee beans, people are with their books studying. I remember in my hostel, like I used to live in the university campus, midnight, like at 12 noon or 1 a.m. at night, we used to have coffee and cookies break. So the university assumed that students will be studying overnight and appear for the exam the next day. It was an assumption. Can you imagine a country which is cultured that way? We are supposed to sleep after 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., right? So that we can wake up at 6 a.m. and go for our classes, go for our exams. But during the exam time, we were expected to study overnight because the syllabus was so hard. Even if you study every single minute of every single day, you cannot complete everything before your exam. That was the level of competition I experienced in Singapore. So, US, I don't know, maybe some universities are more liberal, some universities are not so liberal. It depends where you go. Maybe you will not experience any of this I'm talking about. Maybe you will have a pura vida kind of thing. But that's good. At least you will be mentally prepared, right? Okay, so this thing keeps going up. Oh no. So I think I should do a little faster. Okay, so from all this competition, a natural outcome would be anxiety and depression. I had to go through it a lot because firstly, you feel alone. Secondly, you don't know how to make sense of all this. Maybe you will find another student from Costa Rica, or maybe the other student is really good, but you are not. I had that problem. I was with a few other Indians, and the other Indians didn't seem to have as much trouble coping as I seemed to have. So for me, it was a greater anxiety and stress than it was for them. But if you already know that this is common, this can happen, then you will make peace with it. You know what I mean? So you know, oh, yeah, you know, this Baisakhi told us, I will experience anxiety and depression. So at least in your heart, you will not feel that you are the only one, or you will not feel that something is wrong with you. It's a common symptom. Okay, non-understanding. Now, what do I mean by this? Like, people will not understand you. Not because people don't like you, they do like you, but maybe you are different. And sometimes you just can't tell. You cannot express what is in your heart, and you will feel that nobody understands you. Believe me, I even feel it till this day. Even here in Costa Rica, people love me, you know, oh, Baisakhi, you are a dancer, this, they find me so exotic. But sometimes I still feel that people don't understand me because I am so different and I have such different perspectives. So this is also a common trait. And all this happens because it forces you to grow as a person. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Not belonging. So many times you will feel that you don't belong there. Maybe you made a wrong choice. Maybe you were not supposed to be there. Maybe you should go back home. You will miss your parents. You will miss home food. I don't know. These are some common attributes. Not belonging, homesickness, food. I remember I had such a hard time with food. You know, in India, we eat food with a lot of condiments and spices, and it's really tasty. So I grew up eating Indian food. And then imagine when I went to a Chinese culture, it's the exact opposite. You know, it's so bland. It's like when you have soup, it's like they're having water, you know. And not only that, like in the beginning, I remember in my junior college, so I did 2 years of junior college and 4 years of university, totally 6 years I was in Singapore. And junior college is like high school. So we had assembly. So in the morning, like every day we have to go, like run and be on time for the assembly, and they used to sing the national anthem of Singapore, and we had to sing along with them and all that. And the principal came to give a speech and everything. And when I used to stand in the assembly, in front of the assembly was the canteen. And they used to prepare the food because, you know, students are going to come and start buying food. And I could not stand the smell of that food. You know, in our canteen we had Western stall, Chinese stall, Malay stall, all kinds of food. But every morning, that half an hour assembly for me was a torture because I could not even stand the smell of something that was cooking in that Chinese restaurant. And it was like a nightmare for me, imagine. And for my lunch, every day I used to eat the same food, chicken rice. That was the only thing I liked over there. Nothing else, you know. So every single day, I would go to the same stall and I would order chicken rice. And I ate that for those 2 years that I was in junior college until I went to university and I had more choice. We had an Indian stall there, so I was lucky. But, you know, when I was in India, I was a trouble eater. I was very thin like this. And my parents had to force me to eat vegetables, to eat fruits, because I never liked eating. And when I went to Singapore and I had that experience, you can't imagine the first time I came back home to visit my parents, you know, like 6 months later, I came on vacation. I was like, Mom, give me anything. I will eat everything. And my parents were shocked because I always used to leave food on my plate, you know. And I said, nothing can compare to the torture I experienced in Singapore, like for these last 6 months. And I know I have to go back there and eat that same crap. So I used to come home, eat, get fat, and then go back to Singapore and get thin again. So I became like a camel, you know, camel, the one which, so you eat everything and I would go back and everyone will say, boy, you have put on weight. So don't worry, give me 3 weeks and I will be back to normal. So I'm sure for you it won't be that hard an experience because here you have McDonald's. You know what, I think we should plug in this one because it keeps switching off, I don't know. Because the laptop is on battery, that's why. Sorry. So that was my story about food. I'm sure you won't have so much problem because in the US, you know, it's a melting pot. You have a lot of different cultures over there. So definitely you will find food that you will enjoy. Maybe not gallo pinto or arroz con leche, but you may find other foods that you would like. So it won't be that bad, but still there will be times you will miss that gallo pinto with salsa lisanotel. Believe me, you will. Yeah, thank you. Oh, it's almost 7, I think I should. Okay, so these are some of the challenges. Now I would like to pause for a little bit. If anybody has any questions or would like to make a comment very fast before I go to the next topic. Yes. No, okay, very good question. So, Singapore is a multinational country, just like the US. So they had 4 official languages: Chinese, Malay, English, and Tamil. Now, Tamil is a South Indian language. And because there is a huge population of South Indians in Singapore, they have made Tamil their official language. Wherever you go, if you are on the train station, if you are in the bus, if you are in a public place, all announcements, you know, Singapore is very organized. So you will hear public announcements for the next train, for the next bus, or whatever. All announcements and talks were given in all 4 languages. Isn't that cool? However, 70% of the population of Singapore is Chinese origin. So you will see more Chinese faces than you will see Indians or Westerners. So, and in my university, we had a lot of ASEAN students. So ASEAN countries include, you know, all those Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, all those Southeast Asian countries. So we had a really, really multinational culture. But all these countries in Asia have those Chinese features and Chinese-related culture. Like here, if you go to Costa Rica or Venezuela or Panama, it's not the same, but it's similar, right? The culture. So like that, the ASEAN cultures like Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, they are similar. India is very different. Okay, so any more questions? Are you enjoying the talk? Is it boring? Please tell me if it is boring, because you know I thought this is my first talk here in Centro Cultural, and I don't know, maybe I have to cover a lot because they said you have to focus on study abroad. So I'm going through each point in detail, but if you find it boring, tell me. I will try to make it more interesting. Okay, so now, challenges are there, but what are some of the advantages of these challenges? So let's look. Develops you. So when you actually go through an entirely different reality that you cannot even imagine, you will develop insight as a better human being. You will notice, it will happen, because it will challenge you to grow. Opens your mind, definitely. Suddenly, like maybe you are in a lake and suddenly you are thrown in the ocean. So you will see like a totally different reality. So definitely it will open your mind. It will make you explore different perspectives. And you will experience a lot of inner transformation as a human being. Now, what do I mean by this? This is not something tangible. You cannot see it. And inner transformation doesn't happen without pain. So there will be many times you will feel pain. Pain in your heart. Okay, it's not physical pain, but it is emotional pain. It is, if you go to another country for 4 years, you will experience this. But this is not a bad thing. Just know that pain is not bad, because on the other side of the pain is your light. My book, if you read it, I won't be surprised if you start crying. All the pain and the suffering and the struggle I went through. But because of that, I am a better person today, and I know that. And that's what makes me proud about me. I don't know if somebody else can be proud of me, but I am. And that is important. So this inner transformation will happen, and whether you know it or not, whether you want it or not, whether you even acknowledge it or not, it will happen. And it is good. So, you are your own family. You can find friends, you can find relatives, but you are the only one you have to live with constantly. So I would suggest that make friends with yourselves and never ever abandon yourselves, no matter what. Another great thing about study abroad is that universities in the US, UK, all these developed countries generally offer a wide variety of extracurricular activities. And extracurricular activities are awesome. They are so fun, they can be stressful at times. In my university, we were given points. If we didn't do enough extracurricular activities, we won't be able to keep our accommodation on campus. So then you have to live outside and it would be more difficult. So we were kind of forced to engage in extracurricular activities, and sometimes it became very stressful. But at the same time, you meet like-minded people. So let's say there are like 100 different choices. Let's say you choose martial art. So it's for free. You can learn an entire martial art for free. I was studying computer science, and you know, we were allowed to take cross-faculty subjects. So you know what I did? I learned a whole new language. I learned German from basic until advanced level in my university during my studying of informatica. And because I was learning German, that was the only thing which kept me happy during that excruciating pain of doing a subject that I didn't enjoy. So the variety of opportunities will be immense. Sometimes you can be even lost. You don't know which one you want. All your friends are going for the dancing class, but you really want to paint, and there aren't so many people in the painting class, but still you should go for painting if that's what you like. Okay, so there will be lots of groups and communities, and you know, your college will have like, I don't know, community service. There are lots of great things, you know, that come with study abroad, and this is really great for you to go. I will really encourage all of you here to take at least one program and experience how it is to live in another country, not just travel. Living is harder than just traveling for 5 days, going to Florida, shopping, Miami, and come back. You know, it's not the same thing. So you can go for small programs. I don't know the kind of programs that are offered here. Can be 2 months, 2 years, I don't know. But you should just go for that experience. It's worth it. You will become a national hero. Okay, so let me go to the next topic. So, how to cope? So, as I said, I will run through this slide a little faster. You should never ever abandon yourself. Now, what do I mean abandon yourself? You should never think in your heart, in your mind, that I am not good enough, that I am doing something wrong, that I'm not enough, I'm bad, I have to change, I don't fit into this culture, so I'm going to change myself. So those are the things, are the ways that you abandon yourself, because you need to shine your own light. And that is what you will learn and experience in another country. So go for it, be open, and be at your own side. Take everything as a new learning experience. You know, if you're going through a really difficult time, tell yourself this will pass. Life has seasons. You know, we have summer, we have winter, we have autumn, we have spring. So that difficult phase will not be forever. Okay? The other thing that you must develop this attitude of having an unconditional positive regard about yourself. Now, what do I mean by that? Sometimes we feel wrong, we are thinking negative, we think we are the problem. You know, maybe we can't gel with friends, maybe I feel so alone, I cannot make friends with the locals there because they don't understand me, okay? No matter what happens, you should not let go of your positive regard about yourself. Learn the skills you need instead of resisting. Now, many times, let's say you chose a career, you want to study medicine or you want to study biology. And what you learned here, maybe over there you see that it's so much more difficult, and you are resisting the process. Instead, just go with the flow. If you think, I made the right choice, I love this career, I will learn, I will do whatever it takes to make this work. Okay, so sometimes all you need is a new skill. All you need is maybe you need to learn something about Photoshop, which will help you do your presentations better. I don't know, just learn it. It's not a big deal, you know. Ask for support. So if you feel alone, you will have your mentors there. If you don't have mentors, you will have seniors. Now, what I mean by seniors, there will be other students like you from different countries, from your own country, who have studied there, who is in the same faculty, who is doing the same subject as you are doing, but who is your senior. So you can have a conversation, even if you don't like your senior, if you can't stand them, you can still talk to them, you know, like, tell me, I'm finding this really hard, you know, I want to go back, I don't like it here. So ask for support. Never ever isolate yourself, because that is when it will get worse. So if you are feeling alone, ask for support. Now, I just want to make a little point about solitude. As much as I say that you should never isolate yourself, you should ask for support, sometimes solitude is a good thing. You stay with yourself, you learn about yourself. And that is self-knowledge, it is self-realization. So sometimes being alone is good. Sometimes it's okay if you don't have friends. No problem. You are your own friend. So if you are feeling bad, you ask for support. But if you don't get it, if you don't get the kind of support you were expecting, no problem. Be comfortable in your own company. This is a great lesson for study abroad, because if you are in another country, I mean, as I say, it's a totally different reality. So it is very, very important to make friends with yourself. I mean, to make real friendship with yourself, not fake friendship. Okay, so here is a little quote. When the going gets tough, keep going. Now, I just made that up because, you know, they say, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. But if you get stuck in the toughness, then obviously the tough will keep going. So what you do? It is tough, no problem. I will take baby steps. One step in front of another. One step. I cannot stop, because then it will be worse. So I have to keep going, and soon I will be on the other side. Okay? So I will now move on to our next topic, international travel. So let me know if I'm running out of time, okay? All right. So, any questions about study abroad? So I've talked about career. That is something you have to choose. I've talked about the challenges that you can face in a different country. I would have liked to give more example and more illustrations about these topics, but I have some other topics to cover as well, so if you have any questions, you can ask me now. Anybody? How many of you are really interested in studying in another country? Wow, that's a lot. That is great. I'm so happy to see that. So I'm also very happy to know that this topic is so relevant. And you should not even think twice. Go jump today, okay? We can do more talks. I can prepare you, it's no problem, but it's an amazing, amazing experience. Now, with study abroad, whether you want it or not, this comes. with the package, right? You cannot study in another country if you don't travel there, right? So another country means it is international. It's no more Guanacaste or Jaco or Playa Hermosa. Now it is Miami or Canada or Vancouver or Chicago or Illinois. It's no more a 2 hours ride. So we come to our next topic, international travel. That is my own feet. They were so dirty. I was playing in the mud. I took this picture and all my friends said, "Boy, this picture is gross." So I said, you know what? I like this picture. I'm going to turn it into a poster. So, spirit, desire, adventure. These are the 3 things you require to enjoy international travel. Now, many people want to travel. And you know what? Many people travel, but they don't enjoy. Now, if you are traveling and if you don't enjoy, what's the point? So you can tell people, I have been to this country and this country and this country and this country, but in your heart, you know the truth? You hated it. So, the way to enjoy international travel is to have a spirit of adventure. Hey, you know what? I'm open to this. Let's see what's out there, you know. And sometimes you will have strange experiences and you won't know whether to call them good or bad. But it's okay. You don't have to term everything good or bad. It is just an experience. And you are a wiser person because of that. So keep that in mind. And wilderness, it comes from the word wild. Sometimes a little bit of wilderness is good because it makes you open. It forces your heart to be open. And I don't mean wilderness like sexual wilderness. Please don't get me wrong. Sometimes you think, oh, I'm in a new country. I want to try all the girls here, you know. A lot of men actually go with that intention. But when I mean wilderness, it is your mind. You should impress yourselves in your own imaginations. And that's when you are really wild. You know, I will tell you here a little thing about me. India is a really conservative culture. And I come from a very, very conservative background. You know, we have arranged marriages. We have like this sari, I have put it like this. I cannot wear it like this in India. I have to cover myself like this. Or I have to put it like that because putting it like this is considered not good. But I am a fashionista, so I like to create my own fashion. And in India, I cannot wear it like this. So I decided here, I'm going to wear it like this. So now, if you ever meet Indians, I mean, it's not always the case, but mostly Indians stick to other Indians. So if I don't have a judgment about it. I won't say it's good or bad, but it is very, very rare for a young Indian girl from the conservative culture that I come from to have lived in so many countries and experienced so many different realities. It is unheard of. All my relatives were telling my father, don't send her. You know, when I went to Africa, I went to Nigeria, and Nigeria is a really, really challenging country. It was nothing that I had expected. You know, you will expect poverty, you will expect starvation, you will expect people to be dying out of hunger. And that's what I expected when I went to Nigeria. I saw some of that, but what I did not expect was the amount of corruption in that country. was how people were always trying to take something from you. It was like 24 hours of pain, you know, and imagine what I mean when I say you live in an entirely different reality. In Nigeria, I went on a student exchange program, and I lived there for 1.5 years. 20 out of 24 hours a day. Well, I'm exaggerating, maybe 22 hours out of 24 hours a day, they had no electricity. The country literally lived in darkness. And you know what? Nigeria is one of the biggest oil producers of the world. They have so much fuel. And the Nigerians are suffering. They don't have access to their own resource in their country. The government, the military, each day they make billions of dollars to just by selling oil, exporting oil. And their own countrymen are suffering. So you know what I mean by a different reality? Like, you don't have internet. You don't have your smartphones. You're not connected with anybody. Imagine that reality. So our sense of wilderness takes us to, I'm going to rush a little bit because we don't have much time. So let me just go on. At least I should be able to present all my slides. I don't know if I will be able to go through this. Okay, I will go very fast. So my first trip, like when I was in Singapore and I had this dream to travel, I was wild, like how I told you. So we have a superstition in India that on the first day of the year, whatever you do it for the rest of the year. So I told a friend, it was 30th December of which year, I don't remember. I had a friend and I said, you know what, I want to do something wild. And my friend said, I want to do something wild too. I want to see something like travel. And she and I, we said, you know what, let's just go to the bus stop. They had a bus stop like, you know, you have Coca-Cola here. And this was when I was really young, you know, like I had no idea how to travel. So we went there and we saw there was a bus that was going to an island called Desaru, which is in Malaysia. And you have to take a ferry to go there after the bus takes you to the ferry stop. And I told her, yeah, let's go there. So we went to Desaru, this island, me and my friend, we got a hostel to spend the night. We only planned this trip for 2 days, so I could spend my new year over there. And so I will be able to travel the rest of the year. This was my belief. And then what happened, my friend got a call from her father that her father was really sick. So she had to go back. And she said, but bye, we spent so much money to come here, you stay. I will go because my father is sick, and I could not imagine staying alone in an island. I've never traveled before, you know, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But what she said made sense, you know, so I was like, okay. And then she left, and I had one whole day to myself. I was lying in my hotel bed, and I was like, you know what, I want to spend the whole day sleeping. And then I said, no, I spent all this money to come here and sleep. So I got up, I went to the reception, and I said, how can I see the island? They handed me a map of the island and a bicycle. And they said, everybody is doing this, here is the map, go. And I was like, what? Map? Like, you know, I didn't even know how to read a map, but I said, you know what, I'm going to try it. And I got onto the bicycle, and I spent the whole day traveling along the island. I saw beautiful things that I can't imagine. This was my first experience with myself. Life was preparing me for what was to come in the future. So maybe this is an inspirational story for you. If you want to travel abroad, try something small, you know, like go to Panama or someplace. Actually, I have a really interesting story about how I went to Panama too, but I think we don't have time anymore, so I will skip this part and I will. Can you tell me exactly how much more time I have? 5 minutes? Okay, so do you want to hear the story of Panama? Yes? Okay. So this is my friend. She is Sonali. She's from India. And she came to visit me here in Costa Rica. Just because, oh, Baisakhi, you have traveled so much, I want to see. And I told her, you know what, I haven't been to Panama. Panama is so near. Come, we will go to Panama together. And this was Semana Santa, like Holy Week. And first we went to Guanacaste. We could not plan anything because we did not know what was going to come. So we went to Guanacaste the first 2 days, and then the third day of Semana Santa, I said, okay, let's pack our bags and let's go to the Panama bus stop. So we came to San Jose, you know, from where the buses leave, and there was no bus. That was, I mean, all the buses were full. I was like, what? No way. We have to go to Panama because my friend was going to go back in 3 days. And then we took a taxi, we went to another bus stop. They said, oh, there is another bus stop there where you can get a bus to Panama. So we went to another stop, and guess what? The buses were full there too. And I told my friend, I don't know, but we are going to Panama today. I don't know how, but we will go to Panama. And you know, there is something magical that happens when you make that kind of commitment to yourself. Somehow the universe opens up paths for you. And my friend, I could already see, like, she was so disappointed because she really wanted to see Panama, and we wanted to see the Panama Canal and everything. And I was like, there is no other bus stop here, how to go? And I was just talking around, and somebody said, there are some buses that are going to David, and David is the border of Panama. You can go there and you can take a bus from there to Panama City. And I was like, wow. And nobody thinks of that, you know, when you are traveling, you think, oh, I have to go to Panama City. That is Panama. And then I said, yeah, this is a better option. And the buses to David were empty because nobody wanted to go to David. So me and my friend, we bought the tickets. It was cheaper because it was half the way. We went to David, and in David we found air-conditioned buses to go to, even better, more luxury, to go to Panama City at half the price. You know, the Balboa there is not as strong as the price here. So that's how we went to Panama, and even how, like, we had nothing planned, how this beach particularly, it's a private beach of a 5-star hotel, you know, and we were going in the bus. We didn't know, we had nothing planned, we didn't even have our hotel booked, and we suddenly saw the beach and we got off the bus. And we realized that the only way to go to the beach is to be a part of that hotel. And that hotel was too expensive, we couldn't pay it. So you know what we did? Me and my friend, actually there was another friend, we walked into the reception as if we were staying in that hotel. We did not ask anybody, like, confidently we took the ride and we went to the beach. The receptionist looked at us and, you know, like, she thought maybe we would ask a question, but we didn't ask anything. We walked inside, then we turned right because we knew the beach was right, and we went into the beach. And we were there in this beautiful beach. Our bags were just outside. And we had a great time, like 2 hours, 3 hours we spent in the beach. And the same way we went there, we walked out of the hotel and nobody knew that we just trespassed. You know, this is what I mean by wilderness. And this kind of thing is really fun. We had the most amazing time there. And I'm going to stop my presentation here. Actually, I had a lot more to say, but I don't think I can cover more. I really wanted to tell you a little bit about my book, and I will say it very fast. Like, I wrote this book, as I told you, during my travels across the world. I started writing this when I was in Venezuela, before coming to Costa Rica, and I wrote it over a period of 3 years. And when I was writing it, I never planned it, like I never thought it would become a book. And after 3 years, like my last intercambio was here in Centro Cultural. And when I finished that exchange, I was like, what should I do now? Should I go back to India or what? And suddenly I realized that I have a book. And I kept getting the signs to publish it, and I was very scared. I didn't know anything about publishing, but I always wanted to be an author. And my first book, Magic 9, was not even planned, and I did not edit it because it is the description of a true journey. So when I was making the book, I told my publishers that I do not want to edit anything except for minor spelling mistakes and punctuations, because I want to portray the most authentic version of myself, even if people laugh when they read this book. So this book is available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and it was created because of my passion for life and for travel, whatever. So the rest of my presentation, there is actually a lot more, but maybe we will do it another day. And if you are interested, I have 3 copies here if anybody is interested in getting. It costs $30 or 15,000 colones. You can also find it on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. It's all over the world. So thank you very much for listening to me, for being here, and giving me the opportunity to talk to you about my experiences. I really had a great time talking with you, and I hope you did too. I have a gift for you from the Martin Library, and thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you.
This book is called Butterfly in the Sea.
Yeah, she was American. She lived in Costa Rica a lot of time.
Oh, I will show you something. Look at this butterfly here. And it's there is a little butterfly. Okay, this is me. We took this picture in Guanacaste, and there is a little butterfly on my shoulder. It represents Costa Rica because I finished writing this book.
I finished writing this book in Costa Rica, and here on top you can see catatumbos. They are like relámpagos, but no suena, they don't make sound, and they are colorful, which is symbolic of Venezuela, Maracaibo, where I lived. So these 2 symbols are representing the 2 places where I wrote this book. So, anything else? No. Okay, have a great evening and all the best to anybody who wants to go and study abroad.
One more last thing. Before, thank you to all of you for your presence, your patience, and everything. I know some of you been here kind of late, but Education USA is exactly the program that probably helps you to find and pursue the dreams that Baisakhi told you this evening. And for you to know, next 4th of June, here at the Centro Cultural, in this library, we're going to receive some different universities who had different programs for mobility student exchange or doing master's degree and PhD degrees. So more than welcome all of you to come and know more about what our places, universities, and organizations have for you if you want to go outside and study and do study abroad.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Please enjoy this also, and hope to see you, all of you, in my office very soon. Okay? Thank you so much.
You are the Indian? Non-punishment. Shaman is part of the association. You can't be the president. That's the vice president.
Mr. Jen, then I know Dog. He is somewhere from Indian family. Then there's busy. I know he works so hard, but then I'm working hard now.
You are enjoying it.
Almost 21 hours I spend reading and writing. No, I don't read mathematics. I read economics. I can read economics. Incidentally, I was here when I saw your MSc sheet and you didn't know. So I said, yeah. So I thought I don't belong to your audience group, but I'll sit in. Yeah. So I was good because everyone in one's lifetime should be excited.
Yeah.
Excited and you go from your home environment, you become self-taught.
Yeah.
You recognize the faults and good things of your place, and faults and good things of your place. Socrates, he was at one time able to speak Attic language, so the Greek languages. So he stopped speaking Attic because he never traveled outside Athens to feel himself in exile. So I wrote an essay, Experiencing Exile. I'm in exile.
Yeah, I was in exile when I was in Africa. I remember Diwali, I was
Actually,
crying.
we were in Nigeria. Yes.
When I lived in Nigeria, I was doing a exchange program there. Yeah. So I went there because I don't know, that was something I had to so someone was there's an exchange organization. You've heard of it. From there, after I graduated, as I said, I didn't like my career, so I took this exchange program. It's an organization called ICIT. It works with universities and it's all over the world. So I joined ICIT and it was first I went to Europe, then I went to Nigeria, then I went to another country. So while I lived in Nigeria, I went to Ghana, Benin Republic, Togo, those West African coasts.
You work in this?
I was working here in Zimbabwe.
Oh,
Now, we work with the book and dance in Nigeria.
Now, this is one time. Let's sometimes have a cup of coffee or we can have lunch. Talk a number of things. Talk about home. Talk about each other's experience. I'll give you my email and you give me your email and I'll ask you which is we can have lunch. Okay? Give me pieces. Your parents are still in Calcutta?
Yeah, actually, before my parents lived in Delhi, we were
Oh,
living
I see.
in
Delhi. You are a commercial one.
Yes, but now that all of us have left home, so we are three, like my brother and sister, so we grew up in Calcutta, then, so we were born in Calcutta, then we went to Chennai, we lived in Chennai for 4 years, then we went to Delhi, and after Delhi, I left for Singapore, but my parents were in Delhi until last year. No, last year they moved back to Calcutta. So, but we have been like all over.
Write down on this.
Okay.
I'll write down in my head. Which is the best way to have lunch with me? First thing I'm going to do with you is send you my essay, Experiencing Exile. You will enjoy reading it now.
Sure. Look, this is my full name, Baisakhi Saha.
Baisakhi Saha.
Saha. can get a piece of